members of our external advisory board, Marie, Erica, Brendan virtually, and Bob, who oversee both us and Doctor, both resource centers from the consortium. Special welcome to members of our operating committee who have worked diligently over the past 7 or 8 years to steer us and guide the center and guide projects. Scott Verberidge from NIDCR is here in person. Lillian is virtual from Bethesda. Big shout out to the operations team that put everything together. Dinner last night, the whole AV structure, organizing the rooms. Had a lot of comments on the building already. This is not a new building. It's almost 20 years old, but it's almost impossible to book rooms here. So thanks to the operations team for setting everything up spectacularly. And really, most of all, the ITP teams are the core of what we're about. So welcome and thank you for all your work, and everybody else, advisors, panelists, and guests. So welcome and thank you for carving out part of a couple of days to be with us. This afternoon, we have both a panel on opportunities, challenges, and trends in the niche area of regenerative medicine in the dental, oral, craniofacial space. And this panel will also serve as pitch judges for the soft pitch competition for the ITP teams. And thank you to Tony and Connie for members of our operating committee who will serve as moderators, and they both have deep experience in both the private sector and the academic space. So the agenda for the next couple of days, we'll have ITP presentations this morning, updates from each of the project teams. After lunch, we'll have the panel discussion. Then the pitch hour, which will be broken up to give us time to go out and see the eclipse a little bit after 3 today. And then we'll end with a reception late afternoon, early evening. Tomorrow, a closed door session in which we will evaluate the progress of the ITP teams and talk about funding decisions for the next cycle. So that's the rubric for the next couple of next day and a half. I want to spend a little time just giving an update on progress in the center. This slide, you've probably all seen some variation of this. The top part of this slide is the original NIDCR doc track rubric, which started with a planning stage about 8 years ago. From that, the 2 resource centers, us and Doctor in California, were launched, in which we spent the first 3 years from 2017 to 2020 developing the infrastructure, developing the operations, coordinating the expertise, and recruiting initial ITP projects. From there, we transitioned into the stage 3, which we're currently in which we work with the 2 resource centers, work as a consortium, guiding the ITP projects, exchanging expertise between the 2 centers, with the ultimate goal of exiting towards clinical trials and commercialization. So we're currently at the end of year 4 in this stage 3 of the consortium, shown by the red vertical arrow. So a little bit more deeply, projects entered the resource center, entered the ITP program in stage 2. They were given initially high-level assessments for clinical need and commercial potential. Once they passed those filters, there was a more in-depth review. Passing those filters, when we funded projects, they're milestone-driven, set up with an advisory team in which all of the translational machinery and expertise was integrated and provided from time zero. And as projects progress from left to right in this funnel, the funnel narrows and projects can either exit vertically if they're picked up by some third party, a corporate partnership, licensing, VC, or angel money, or they can continue to progress left through right through the funnel to exit the program and via an FDA submission with the ultimate goal of not just clinical trials, but clinical adoption. So this is the rubric and the expertise that we've set up, and collectively everyone in the room has contributed to this in one form or another. To date, almost all of our ITP teams have their IP in place. All of them have worked with our market assessment core to help refine the specific product niche. They've all had some form of corporate engagement, and over 80% have had some form of formal submission, formal interactions plural, with the FDA. We are fairly agnostic in terms of technology type, tissues addressed, balance between internal and external projects. External projects are both academic and small businesses, and reasonably balanced in terms of gender of the ITP teams. In terms of impact, to date, we've already had one 510K filed, one product on the market, over 40 follow-on grants, and over 40 million in follow-on funding, 13 to date SBIRs, a couple received funding notices just within the last couple of weeks. In terms of follow-on funding, there's been over a threefold return on investment. And dissecting that numbers, I think, really speaks to the potency of the center. This has been a conversion. Most of this threefold return on investment has been non-NIH dollars. So the ITP teams have continued with their funding stream, but weaned off of NIH dollars. And dissecting some of the successful ITPs, I think there's much greater efficiency with the use of the ITP, which is NIH money, much more efficiency than the R01 model in terms of getting projects to the FDA, getting them on the market with really less dollars than if the same number of years had been funded with a traditional NIH R01 model. So we're really proud of this return on investment. We've spent the last year, year and change, looking towards the future. What's going to happen after stage 3? And we started out by identifying the stakeholders, understanding their needs and interests, and what we could do to uniquely position the DocTrack program, or rather, what was the stakeholders' perceptions of the DocTrack program. So the stakeholders were started with the ITPs, but looked at different federal partners, private sector partners, investors, professional organizations, foundations, had listening sessions in which we collated their information, and in concert with the NIDCR, assessed what we were told. These were, the operative word was listening, not us talking. And we're in the process of crafting a vision development for the future. That development syncs very well with the NIDCR's concept clearance in the past few months on this APEX program, accelerating product excellence and innovation for clinical adoption. And our vision at the moment is that the structure and processes and operations that we've developed for this consortium are amenable to a number of spaces. We can apply this to other areas of regenerative medicine. We can equally apply this to other non-regenerative medicine areas of dentistry. And we can apply this to a variety of, take this rubric and apply it to a variety of other STEM areas, other clinical areas, in particular looking towards making technologies affordable, reaching diverse and underserved populations. So all of these are potential directions that we envision the platforms that we developed to be applicable and easily translatable to. So we're actively looking for partners to help achieve this in a number of directions, supporting the structure and operations of the resource center, working with partners. To date, the ITPs have been driven by ideas and technologies of the project teams, but there's no reason that we couldn't work with partners and craft need-specific RFAs, as well as project-based opportunities, looking at the ITPs in the portfolio and seeing what might be of interest to potential partners. So all of those are angles in which we are actively looking for working with partnerships. Okay. The other conceptual thing is if we look at our ITP projects on the left column and we flip things 90 degrees, we can think more globally about what more general areas of medicine, what more general clinical domains might these projects fit into. And we could see that projects fit into general areas of inflammation, neuroscience and sensation, congenital malformations, trauma, wound healing, even GI. So one of the perspectives going forward is not limit the thinking to just dental projects. What more global or universal conditions might these projects, might these technologies be related to? So before I end, a couple of housekeeping announcements. The next retreat will be a joint retreat of the whole DocTrack program hosted by us and C-Doctor. That'll be in October in Bethesda. And our next MPW retreat will be next March, almost a year from now in Boston. So these dates are on our website. Please note them on your calendars. And again, the agenda for today, as I mentioned, we'll start with the ITPs in a few moments. I'd like to next ask Scott Verberidge from NIDCR, Director of the Tissue Engineering and Regenerative Medicine Program, to say a few words and offer his own welcome to this retreat. So thanks everybody for being here and helping us launch what should be a great couple of days of information and updates from the teams.
All right, I'll keep this pretty brief to stay on schedule, but thank you, Matsumi, for organizing. Thank you, Dave, for the opportunity. This is my first time in Ann Arbor, so I really appreciate the chance to visit and learn more about the program. Just a quick update, I guess, from the NIDCR side. I'm sure many of you are aware we do have a budget finally, so that's really wonderful news. NIH has a budget. We've avoided the most dire of the budget predictions, so I think we're pretty thankful to be essentially flat in the budget, so that's great. The flip side of that is you all are well aware a flat budget does still mean belt tightening. So that's the reality of it. The success of programs like DocTRC, I think, go a long way to help justify continued support for this area. So I appreciate all the hard work you all are doing. And Let's keep it up. Kind of on that note, I think that this upcoming meeting in October, the joint meeting, is going to be a really great opportunity to show off the success of this program to more folks at NIH. So I would keep that in mind for that meeting. In terms of moving forward with Apex, I think that's going to be a really great opportunity. I think the more ITPs that we have kind of crossing that, that next threshold of getting through the regulatory, process with FDA, I think that's going to be really critical. So fingers crossed, I hope we have a few more of those successes ticked off by the time that meeting comes around. I think that'll be really helpful. So with that said, I don't really need to take up more time. I'm excited to hear from the ITPs and excited for a really productive day. So thank you.